Looking at them extra images for the Quansheng PCB, cutting your board is a bad idea, so we are not going to cut anything. We also going to experiment and find out where is it best to connect antenna before amplifier, or just ignore this amplifier and connect it after amplifier. And if before amplifier, perhaps we can use one of these BFU 550AR low noise transistors. And for all of you who is going to be doing single antenna with this mod, we are going to explore, do we need this choke or not. We are going to test with this choke and without it and find out. You see that connector over there for dual antenna? We're going to install it so that when we take our radio apart, we don't have to desolder anything. Plus, I'm going to show you how to do it without the connector using pigtail cable. Relocate flashlight LED so that we have an indicator. This video is a complete and comprehensive guide. I'm going to take you from point A to point B and show you everything in between. We're going to do single antenna and dual antenna. So by the end of this video, you are going to have one of these beautiful modified SI puppies that is extra loud. I buried some bonus footage in this video, but I'm not gonna tell you where it is. It is going to make this mod that we're doing even louder than it is, so you're gonna have to watch the entire video to the end. What's happening, YouTube? So this is installation instructions for version 2.1, the one with preamp. We did the installation of the original green board, version 1, and we also installed this version 2, the one without the preamp. If you need installation videos for those boards, you can find them on my channel. But today we are going to install this thing, that one under microscope right there, into this radio. And there are two ways of doing it. First way is single antenna. You just use this antenna both for your Quansheng and for that SDR right there. That's the one that we're going to install it. But I recommend that you go second way. Second way is we're going to install this SMA connector into the hole for the flashlight. Trust me, it's not hard. No special tools are required. Just a couple of drill bits and obviously the drill itself. So I recommend that you do a dual antenna setup. Why is it version 2.1 and not version 2 with preamp? Because it says 2.1 right there on the board. Just a quick spoiler to motivate you to do dual antenna. 5mm drill bit, we're gonna fix it, we're gonna lubricate it, and we're gonna manually rotate and make this hole larger for the flashlight. And then we're going to take larger drill bit, 5.9mm, and repeat the same thing. Then we are going to slide in proper connector and make it flash so that you don't have to cut your PCB. In these instructions we're doing single antenna and dual antenna, so stick around. So let's talk about tools, guys. Nothing special. Basically you need eyes, as I use your eyes, but I'm pretty sure your eyes are not that good. You're gonna need one of this Jules mask. It's like cheap. You don't need expensive one, get a cheap one. Or over there you see a light with a magnifying glass. That will also work. Or you can use actual magnifying glass. I have like this one, it's called triplet. Or you can use any magnifying glass. Now the problem with magnifying glass is that you're gonna have to hold it like this. And you're gonna have to hold your component with a finger, and finger is going to get hot and you might get burns and you're gonna have to take the pain basically. Drill bits, guys, 5.9 and 5mm. These are for metal. Basically there is also the step drill bit, one of these, but the problem with the step drill bits, it is not cheap and it is one time use only to make this one hole, at least for me. So once you use it, it's gonna be laying somewhere, but in my case it makes sense to get the drill bits because I'm going to use this for multiple different things. Also, you're gonna need either a vise to hold the drill bit steady, because we are going to rotate the plastic body on top of drill bit, or an actual power tool like a drill, so that you can insert the drill bit and use it without power. Just rotate the body around the drill bit, plus some lubricant, either machine oil or motor oil, and the greaser to get the oil lubricants cleaned. It's not complicated, guys, trust me on this one. We also gonna need a cheap solder iron with a small tip. You see, the smaller the better. This one I purchased at the dollar store for 60 cents, so any cheap solder iron is going to work. And as you know, we are using low melt. Get low melt. Where to get low melt? Let me show you guys. To give you ideas, this is Amazon.com. You see right here, it's low melt solder. How about on eBay? We looked for Roses metal, and check this out. Roses metal from Ukraine, and over here from Kazakhstan. All the way on top. Come on, man. There you go, another one from Kazakhstan. Also, you can get low melt on sites like Farnell, DigiKey, Mauser, and obviously at your local electronic supply store. Your local electronic supply store is probably going to be the cheapest source for low melt solder. Guys, just make sure to ask the seller make sure that the low melt does not contain cadmium, because cadmium is toxic and we don't want it. 99-cent UV light and solder mask, and that's it. And just the obvious things like flux and solder wick, and obviously just a regular solder. Guys, I just did the calculation. If you're gonna buy everything that I mentioned, it's going to be about $12 at your local electronic supply store. So get these tools and consumables and let's begin our job. And no, this is not hard, this is easy DIY, just solder iron, magnifying glass and some flux. So let's begin. Let's take our radio apart. I know you know how to take it apart, but that guy was there does not know. So let's take it apart. Yeah, you're gonna have plastic piece over here, and just save it. And you're gonna turn on your solder iron and get these wires off of here. Just like that. My Quansheng is over here. Under microscope there is something else. There is a right way to do things and there is a wrong way to do things. I'm going to show you the wrong way. I frown upon the wrong way, but for you the wrong way could be the right way. Basically what I'm doing here is flicking a capacitor like this. That's it, we flicked it. That capacitor, guys, it flew off. We do not know its value and we lost it. That's why it is wrong way. How about the chip? Well, the chip we can cut off. Check this out. How about we cut this one off? Here is the chip, it's cut off and it's gone. You can throw it into garbage right there. This is the wrong way, so let's do it now in the right way. By the way, that chip you could have cut with nail clippers, but that's the wrong way. So now for the right way, we take our low melt. It comes in wire, it comes in gel. Just take low melt piece over here, and let me show you the right way. The right way basically, guys, is desolder everything and save components. Let's go under microscope and let me show you the right way. Basically, we're gonna take off this chip over here. Just apply some flux and some low melt. Like this. And save the chip. So we took our chip off, we're gonna save it. I'm gonna put it aside. I do not want to throw it out, that's why I took it off. Now we're gonna take these two components off, this one and this one of which is a coil, the other one is capacitor. So let's take them off using low melt. As you can see, I've been working here because I installed actually a previous version of the board. I have instructions for that on my channel. But basically, it is low melt right in here. Just take it like this, and it should come off easily. Like that, and we're gonna save what I think this is a coil. And let's take off this capacitor. Again, low melt around it and take it off. And I'm going to save them. But for now, let's clean this mess. Just apply some flux. Let me zoom out so that you can see the big picture. You're good. So apply some flux and take a solder wick and let's clean this thing. Let's start with this big blob that we made here. Just let the wick absorb low melt. I'm gonna cut this piece off so that there is fresh solder wick. And let's do this side. And cut solder wick again, because you want fresh solder wick so that it absorbs the low melt. Coil and capacitor is right over here. I don't want to lose them. Let me cut it off one more time. Guys, everything looks nice in here. Excellent. So the thing is, I would like to save this coil and capacitor for possible later use. Would you like to save them for possible later use? Well, that's up to you, but I think you should. Basically, I found the perfect way for it. Here's a ground or contact over here, and I'm just going to solder one half to this ground and contact. This way they do not get lost. How about like this, guys? Now let's just clean over here. Just use some flux off. And some toothbrush. Like this. Quick word about the cleaning agents. Isopropyl alcohol, it's 99.7% alcohol, the rest is water. So once it evaporates, you're left with water and you got corrosion. I'm not saying this the wrong way, but you're gonna rust if you're gonna use alcohol. Use flux off or get benzene. Benzene, you see it? It is C280-120. Get it at your local hardware store. I'm saying this because I used this thing in repair like a long time ago, and I noticed that things come back if you use this. We are ready to install the mod. The board is over there. As you can see, it has double-sided tape on the back. I guess you can glue it, but I have double-sided tape, and double-sided tape is much easier to take off. So let's install the board. Just align it a little bit. Align it over here like this. This is good. And push it down. So we now can solder this thing in. Let me guys bring you in. You see it? Just make it straight and solder it in. Let's solder in this side. Just add some flux and come here with solder iron. There you go. That's it, we tucked it in place. Now it's going to be easier. Let's do another side. The other side, not another side, the other side. Let's apply some flux. And let's hold it out down and go over it so it's flush. Good. Let's clean it up so we can see. So let's inspect our job. We're gonna use multimeter in beep beep mode. Beep beep means there is contact. So this pin over here, let's try this. Let's start with this pin, which is the first pin, is RCLK, external reference clock for crystal oscillator. It is over here. From this to here it beeps. That means it is good. Next pin is VDD number 2 over here. It's a voltage. That means we have contact. And here we have right audio and left audio. So let's check right audio. And of course left audio also connected. On the other side we have SCLK. SCLK is clock for serial communication. It's this one over here. And it is connected. And over here we have ground. Let's check the ground. It is connected. Over here we have F-min. F-min is RF FM input negative port. This is antenna in. Antenna in is over here to this capacitor, you see? It is connected. And the last one is SDIO. SDIO is serial data input output. It's this pin over here to this resistor. It works. So everything is good, everything checked out. Up next we are going to solder the ground over here. I don't like soldering next to display, and I'm going to take it aside, but you don't have to. If you feel Rambo, you can just do it next to display. So like this is safe, guys. Just turn your iron on and apply some flux like this, and come in with your iron and solder it. I mean, it's self-explanatory, I know you know it. Now this ground is really thick, so it's gonna take a lot of heat. Yeah guys, since I'm using a crappy professional iron, I just switch tip to something larger so that my job is going to be easier. Now if you have an amateur iron, like I showed you at the beginning of the video, you don't have to, you are not going to have this problem because your iron is always at the maximum temperature. So let's clean. Good. We are almost done. We have the ground connected right there, and we have everything connected over here. Now all we have to do is take off this capacitor. Let me show to you this one over here. So let me zoom you guys in and myself, and we're going to take it off. So I still have some low melt left over here, so let me use low melt. Let me add some flags. Yeah, that big thing coming into frame. We're also gonna run a jumper from here to here, over here, but first let's do the capacitor. Like this. Now, as you know, I do not want to throw out this capacitor, so how about we save it over here. Like this, guys, is going to be perfect. I mean, if later I have to use it, I know where it is. I'm not going to be looking for it, right? So let's clean this up. And there's my solder wick. Yeah, like this is good. So let's do this jumper. Let's take a jumper wire. Any wire is going to do. But I have here jumper wire, but you can cut a insulated wire and just use one strand. So let's apply some flags. And let's come here with solder and make a bump over here like this. Like this is good. And more solder. And over here. Like this, guys, and we're just going to cut it off. I mean, you can cut it off using a knife, but whatever, man, just cut it off. So let's clean this all off, and we're gonna beep test it. Our multimeter in beep mode from the leg of this transistor or from this capacitor, beep, good. And from here to, let's say, this capacitor, no beep. And from here to over here and over here, no beep. So we have contact, this is good. Guys, there is one more jumper, let me show it to you. Basically on our board, you see antenna in, it coming to capacitor. We have this capacitor here, and here we have this capacitor. So basically this mod has capacitor, and we do not need this capacitor, so we are going to put a jumper on top of this capacitor. So let's do it, guys. Let me zoom you in so you can see like this. Essentially you can take off this capacitor and just put a jumper, but yeah, we want, I don't want you to lose it. Why would you do that? So we're just gonna put a jumper on top of this capacitor. Just apply some solder to both sides of this capacitor so that our jumper wire can stick, and come here with a jumper wire. How about like this? Yep. Like this is perfect, guys. So now just cut it off and clean and beep test it, obviously. Why am I cleaning after every time I do something? So that I could see better, basically. But if you can see good without cleaning, you just have to clean it one time at the end. That's it. So let's beep it from this capacitor over here to this leg. Beeps, so we have contact. Good, guys. We are done, guys, but not quite. Just a tiny little bit left. We have to decide one antenna or two antenna. If two antennas, that's a discrete antenna for this mod. That's going to be a lot more sensitive. Doing two antennas, it's not hard, it's easy, so I encourage you to go with two antenna setup. But most of you still gonna do single antenna because you're afraid of the sync, and I don't know why, it's easy. So instructions from here are going to be for single antenna, and then we are going to do dual antenna, but still watch everything. It's not going to be long, guys. You're looking at this window over here at the microscope. This over here is an amplifier. It is used with BK, the original FM chip that we took off to amplify the FM signal. Basically, I'm confused a little bit because there is two videos beside mine, two other videos on installation of this mod. First one is from South Korea, and the guy installs second antenna right over here, antenna plus, antenna minus with a coaxial cable. He just soldered it. And the second video is from Slovakia. That's a new one, and the guy does not use a coaxial cable because he didn't have one, but he installs antenna plus right over here before this amplifier. I'm curious, maybe this is a better way, so we are going to test it at this point before we proceed, which one is better. And if installing before the amplifier is a better way, if you get better reception, then I have some low noise transistors. Perhaps we can actually install a low noise transistor instead of this one. So let's test it. By the way, guys, the official instructions over there, they don't tell me anything because, as you can see on the picture, the guy took off this capacitor and he's not shown where to install the second antenna, over here or over here. I'm pretty sure that they themselves don't know how to do it, and when you ask the seller, he doesn't tell you anything. Let me show you what's going on here. I installed the firmware, this reborn with this chip support, and it's kind of halfway connected everything. Basically I'm going to come with tweezers before the amplifier and after the amplifier, and we are going to compare the reception. Frequency is 99.9 on this local but bad FM station. I can hear sound. How about over here? Back to here. Let's put on some other frequency and try it again. So the frequency is 104,400. Let's try it one more time. I like this better. So that is decided. That amplifier only makes things worse. We are going to do it like the Korean guy did. We are going to install second antenna here. This is the plus and this is the minus, and we are not going to use this amplifier. So that's decided. But second antenna aside, guys, we are going to do single antenna setup for now. So that the guys that are going to do single antenna setup know what to do, and after this we're gonna do dual antenna setup. So for all of you single antenna guys, this is instructions for you. Let's go under microscope. All we have to do basically is install a 100 nanofarad capacitor. I have it right here, and we're gonna install it right over there. You see it? Let's zoom in and let's solder it in. You can see and I can see, so let's solder this thing in. Well, first before we solder we have to clean this here, right? Because it has low melt. So let's apply flux off and let's clean it. Just like this, and now we can solder it in. Just get some solder on the tip, and let's grab this capacitor and solder it in. Like this. And let's do the second side, the other side. Like this. Let me add some flux so that the solder flows and it looks nice. This is good. And again this side, nice and shiny, excellent. So this is we just did the single antenna mode, but there is something else I'm curious about. How about the choke? Do we need a choke? Official instructions do not say anything about the choke. I spoke to the seller and he said just do what you see on the picture, but I don't know. Let me test the choke. So let's test it just like this, and then I'm going to test it with a choke. Can you hear me? This is the lowest volume of this thing because it has a preamplifier, so I cannot go any lower. Station is 104,400, that's the one that we hear bad, but if we apply second antenna, we begin hearing it. So the idea is compare this sound without the choke. Right now I can hear anything, and with the choke. So let me put the volume up maximum so that we can hear it really good. No choke. Let me put the choke. I know that this is not a proper test, but with the choke I could hear just a minuscule, it was just a little bit better. I could almost hear something, but not quite. Guys, I don't know, I'm still going to show instructions for installation of this choke, but it is up to you to install it or not to install it. Use your best judgment, I guess. The proper test would be just use it like this for a single antenna. This mode is done, and test it right, and then come back and install the choke and test it that way. Yeah guys, did you hear me? For a single antenna setup up to this point the mode is done. To install the choke, that is going to be optional, and at this point I'm going to show you how to install the choke, but that is optional. I think it's going to be a little bit better, but decide for yourself. I cannot say definitely do it or definitely not do it. And for dual antenna setup, it's going to be right after I show you how to install this choke. Single antenna, guys, let's recap what we did so far. We removed the original BK FM chip, and we removed coil and capacitor from over here. We removed this capacitor, and we installed the mod. We soldered everything. We installed the jumper over here. We soldered the ground, and we replaced this capacitor with a 100 nanofarad capacitor. For single antenna, guys, that is your mod. This right here is optional. I'm going to show you how to install choke. My video got messed up, guys. I did not catch how I took this stock choke off, but basically I desoldered it using low melt. So set the stock choke off aside, save it, don't throw it off, don't throw it out, and let's solder the this choke. Just like this, one side and then the other side. Like this, and then the other side. Like this. So you have the choke installed. Check out the frequency, it's 99.3. I never heard the station before, and it is playing. If I touch the antenna, there is music there. But with the choke, I'm not touching anything, and you can hear the music. So first time when I tested it, I wasn't wrong after all. So this choke makes difference. So I would highly recommend at this point that you install this choke. And official instructions probably don't provide instructions or the choke, because this mod is designed for dual antennas, and plus choke costs money. But the choke you can get on AliExpress. I bought mine right over here. I bought half watt 1 millihenry. It's like 80 cents or 90 cents with free shipping or something like that. I'm going to include the link in the description. So I have to, after what I've seen here, I have to recommend you install this choke. So single antenna, guys, we are done. Basically at this point just reassembled your radio, and instructions for reassembling going to be at the end, and install firmware. Also instructions for installing firmware are at the end. We are going to install two different firmwares. First we are going to install SEC from Hamsky, and that's a standard firmware for this mod. And second, we are going to install more advanced reborn firmware from Foxy. Let's go under microscope and review it one more time. I mean, recap it one more time. So, what we did is, we took off the stock FM chip, and we cleaned everything. Then we removed the coil and capacitor, you see them right over here, and we cleaned everything. Then we removed this capacitor and replaced with 100 nanofarad capacitor. We installed the mod. We put the jumper right over here, and we soldered the ground. And the mod, of course, is glued on double-sided tape. But you can also use glue, but the problem with glue is that it's hard to take off, just in case. Plus, I already took it off, but I recommend that you get one of these chokes, and the stock choke you remove. But I already put everything back because we are ready to do the dual antenna setup. So from here on begins dual antenna setup. All my single antenna guys, just watch, because this is easy. I recommend that you do dual antenna, I mean discrete antenna, second antenna, two antennas. So let me show you what we're gonna do. Basically, guys, for two antennas, we are going to take off this capacitor because we don't need it. And I'm also off camera going to take off this transistor, because check this out. This antenna in, it goes through this jumper right here. It hits this amplifier, and we do not need this amplifier. We already established that it is better without this amplifier. So all it is at this point is sitting here doing nothing and perhaps providing some noise. That is my reasoning for taking it off. But not to get things complicated, I'm just gonna take this off camera. But for now, let's take the capacitor out. Let's put some flux on it and let's take it out. I'm just gonna use a blob of solder and take it out. I'm not gonna save it because I know the value for this is 100 nanofarads. But I did save the stock capacitor, and you can see it right here. It is saved. So off camera, I'm going to take this transistor off. And also we installed this jumper right over here, right across this capacitor, this antenna in, so that there is no capacitor here because we have a capacitor right here. So we put the jumper right here. So we are back, guys. I took the transistor off, and it's okay not to save it because we know what this, it's highly available. It's like 15 cents, I think. At this point there are two ways of doing this, and they both equally easy. First way is we install a connector right over here, and so that we use this IPEX to connect antennas. This way we can disassemble the radio without desoldering anything. The second way is just straight up solder the pigtail, this antenna plus and this antenna minus. But as you can see, we have ground here, so it has to be insulated somehow. There are other ways to insulate it, like you can use a tape. If you're gonna solder it, you just put the tape here. But what I recommend is this thing. This is solder mask. I think I paid like $3 for it at my local electronic supply store. So you just need just a little bit. You take just a little bit and you put on your spatula or something like that, maybe on napkin, just a tiny little bit. And the idea here is to use a little bit so that it dries really good. It is UV activated. So let's apply the mask to mask the contacts. Basically I want mask like this. So I want to mask it like this. I want the space for this connector. It's going to go here. It has contact underneath. So on the sides here, I'm not going to mask. And this right here, I'm going to mask. This is going to mask this. So let's mask it all. Just take this stuff and use your tweezers to just apply this sparing layer. You don't need a big layer, it has to be a small layer so it dries really good. Just a little bit. Maybe even spread it more so it dries really nice. And like this is good. And let's mask this contact, this antenna plus. And right here, this is also antenna plus. Well, it's not antenna plus is here and here is resistor, but let's mask it anyway. Right here. You see, the way I did right now, it's too much, but it's okay. Just gonna take longer to dry. So spread this out really good. Cost 99 cents, it's UV light. And we put it right on top. Like this is good. We spread out everything thin. We have negative contacts right here and antenna plus right over here. You are not going to have these contacts on your PCB because in previous video I actually scraped this off using scalpel. Let me show you the previous video. You can actually go to my channel and check it out. It is going to be this video right here, HF full band version 2 without preamp. This board over here, I did the installation video. There's the same board but without the preamp. But basically guys, just like you see in the picture, use a scalpel or a knife to scrape off the solder mask, silk screen of the PCB. But at this point we're going to take UV light, 99 cents by the way, and place it on top. And 10-15 minutes I'm gonna come back, it's going to be solid. I just checked using one of these. You can definitely do this using one of these. And I also checked using my magnifying glasses called triplet. You can use triplet as well to do this. It's you can see everything. So let's come back. So at this point we are done with UV curing and I think it's cured. Let me show you under the microscope. Let's touch it. So let's see. Yes, it looks solid, and we mask the contact. So let's put keyboards so that we can test feed. So the keyboard is installed here over the microphone. Basically, guys, if you want to do it without the connector, here is what you have to do. You are going to solder antenna plus right over here, being careful not to touch anything else, and you are going to solder the ground right over here. In fact, you might as well solder the ground first, and this way the cable does not touch or interfere with keyboard or anything else. And after that, you are going to take your multimeter in beep beep mode and definitely make sure that antenna plus and antenna minus does not beep like this. Does not beep. But I am not going to solder the pigtail. I'm just going to install the connector, because guys, difficulty level is the same. It's just a matter of having the connector. Speaking of having the connector, let me show you something. 10 pieces, guys. 10 pieces cost me 64 cents, maybe 70 cents. I don't know what it translates to, but under a dollar, basically 70, 60, 70, 80 cents. And the shipping is really fast. I'm going to receive this tomorrow, but I have connector in stock. I took it off something old router, and so we are going to install it today. So let's do it, guys. Let me show you the underside of this connector. Check this out. This is how it looks underneath. There is a positive and there are two negatives. This is why we mask here, and this is why we scraped here, so that we can solder it where we scraped. So let's put flux on one side and tuck one side in, and then do the other side negative, and then we're gonna do the positive. And then we are going to beep beep everything to make sure that nothing touches anything. Guys, this job is really easy, trust me. If you are a newbie, just get some eyes and you can do this job. I want it aligned just like this, you see. So it is overground here and overground here, and over here it just barely touches the antenna positive. So let me turn on my solder iron. Let me put more flux, because I really want the solder to flow. And let me grab some solder and let's solder this. Just a tiny little blob on the tip, guys. And yeah, I'm going to hold this thing down with my finger. Maybe I'm not going to hold it. Just let's touch it like this. Yeah, better to hold it. Guys, maybe not the finger, because the finger gets hot. I don't like that. Like this, guys. So check this out. We tucked it on one side. Are you in focus? Are you with me? So we tucked it on one side, and this side is also aligned, and the tip, the positive, is just over here. So let's tuck the other side, guys. Like this. It should be good. Now I just want to use tiny little bit of solder so that I don't make a mess and I don't have to fix it. Just gonna touch it. I'm even being careful here, like this, guys. This is good. So now I can go over this side and come back to this side. This is good. So let's do the positive. Let me just add some flags and let me see how, from which side, I mean, it is going to be the best to come here with a blade. I mean, not the blade, the solder iron. I think like this is going to be good. So a little bit of solder. A little more. Like this. I see it's done, and we did not touch this jumper, which is good. So let's test it, guys. I'm gonna take multimeter in beep beep mode, and we are going to see if it beep beeps. Beep beep means we have a short, and I would like to test from, let's test from here to the ground. No short, so it's good. So we did the job right. All we have to do is just clean it. So let's clean it. That's all it is, man. Now you tell me, was that hard? I think it was not hard. At this point, basically, we're just gonna have to make a hole and fit the pigtail, the other side of this cable that you see on the microscope, the black cable over here, into this hole and make it flush so that it does not touch the PCB and we can install it. And this connector is really easy to install, and if you have to ever take radio apart, you just disconnect the connector. It's easy, guys. Well, there is one more thing I would like to do. You know, when you press PTT and turn power on to flash your radio, or when you just turn the flashlight on, LED lights up. Basically, I would like some indication that the firmware is flashing or that LED is lighting up. So I'm going to install an LED somewhere over here so that we do not lose this functionality, because we are going to take off this LED in the process of installing the SMA connector. But this is bonus. You don't have to do it, but you can watch it. So I'm gonna do it right now. Speaking of bonuses, remember at the start of the video I promised a mod that is not documented anywhere, with this mod on top of this mod to make it even louder. Well, let me show you what I'm going to do, and you can watch it. This is also optional, you don't have to do it, but this is how you make your mod even louder. Check this out, guys. Basically, here is the audio output from the mod. We have pre-amplifier right here. It exits over here through this capacitor, and through this via it comes here and goes through this trace on the output, and through one of these resistors, I forgot the value, but I think they're like 6 kilo ohm. Basically, I already tried it with my tweezers, and if you short one of these resistors, the volume gets even louder. So what I'm going to do is just install a jumper across this resistor. So that's all it is. That's the mod, bonus mode, I mean. And basically, I'm just gonna put some flags on top of this resistor, either one, but let's do this one. And I'm gonna come here with a jumper wire. Like this. Let me grab some solder. And let me put some solder onto my jumper wire. And let me make a jumper. I took the resistor off. Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Well, okay, let's take it off. Let's take it off and let's just take it off completely and put a jumper right over here. Like this. And this resistor, I'm going to set it aside. I mean, they are the same, this one and this one, so I don't need this one. If I lose this one, it's okay. So let me cut the wire off. And let me beep beep. Beep beep means there is contact. So from here to this capacitor, it beeps. And if we had this resistor, it would not beep. But since we have a jumper, everything is beeping. So that's what we want. So this is the bonus modification, guys. At this point, let's take off the LED, and I'm going to do as a optional bonus, I'm going to make an indicator somewhere on the keyboard. I haven't decided where yet, but we are going to decide and make a flashlight basically on top of the keyboard. So let's take off this LED. To take it off, basically we need to disassemble the radio forcer. Like this. We're gonna take this to, what do you call this? Thing is nuts. This is called nuts, right? We're gonna take them off. And we're gonna unscrew the motherboard from the metal case, because we want access to the other side. Guys, I'm not going to desolder the LED. LED basically, I have like 200 pieces of this LEDs. Is just a regular 5mm LED. But off camera I measured the plus is on the antenna side. From this side it's plus, and from this side it's a minus. So we just take the motherboard out and using nail clippers or just clippers, we are going to cut the LED off. Like that, man. Just cut it off carefully. It flew off, which is good. And we are going to be left with contacts. You see, let's see it under microscope, man. So these contacts we are going to actually take off using solder iron. So just apply some flux. Just take a regular solder and put a blob on top here and on top here to lower the melting point, and just push them out with your solder iron to the other side. So here on the other side, you don't see, but they're sticking out from the other side. I'm just gonna grab it and I'm gonna warm it up from this side, and the contact came off. And also with this one, like this, guys. Basically with the solder, there is no need to clean with a solder wick. Up next we are going to optionally, guys, optionally. So at this point, right, if you don't want to do this next step, you don't have to, but optionally we are going to install one of LEDs right over here, so that there is indication when the firmware flashing or where the flashlight is on. You guys remember that video where we changed the color of our keyboard to green and then to red? It's this video over here. This one. If you haven't seen it, change LCD display and keyboard color, go watch it. But basically I'm using the same LEDs that I used for changing the display color. It is 020 size. So let's go under microscope. First let me show you where I'm going to install them. This M key does not light usually, so I'm going to install right underneath the M key. Let's go on the microscope and let's check it out. You basically see in the LED already. Just let me focus you. So here is the M key, that's where it lives, and this LED is going to be right underneath it. Right here basically, guys. You see this two dots over here. So I'm going to install it right here, and the light is going to be coming off towards the display like this, and I'm going to fix it in place using glue. I have here T7000 glue. I use it for cell phone repair, so it's cheap, but you can use any glue like super glue, whatever, man. Use just any glue that you want. But I have this available, so this is what I'm going to use. And let me glue it in place. Just drop it on top like this. So this has to dry, and then we are going to come here and connect the contacts. Let me show you the glue that I use, guys. T7000. It is by Jalinda. Jalinda is a Chinese brand for glue, a real good glue, but you can use any glue, super glue. But I switched from super glue. I'm using this instead of super glue in my day-to-day application, so I recommend that you get this one. I think it's like $2. Yeah, guys, I would like to address this moment. Basically, we are looking at the board on your microscope over there. This is positive, right? It's whatever the battery voltage is. This contact coming over here, right? And this, you'd think it's negative, but no, we can beep it. This is not negative, and there is no trace going into this pin of LED from either side of the board, so it is in between the board. I have X-ray images, so let's take a look at X-rays. Number 6 over here. So this is the antenna connector, and here is positive pin of the LED, and we got the trace going here. This is a positive. Next one, we have this negative pin of LED. This is a volume. Do you see my cursor? This is a volume knob. So this is the negative pin of LED, and the trace, we can almost make it out here. It's going right there, right there. So basically, when you cut your board, beyond that is no bueno, I frown upon it, but when you cut your board to make room for the connector, you can short things out and kill your radio. Basically, if you do it, it works fine, but I don't recommend you that you do it, because there is no need to do it. We're just gonna make everything flush and nothing is going to touch, and there is no need to cut anything. I'm going to make the jumpers from the LED to that LED that I glued using 0.1 millimeter jumper wire. The wire is coated, so there is no contact. Let's go under microscope, let me show it to you. So the positive we established is on this side, on the side of the antenna, and I traced it right over here. This is the positive, this is where I'm gonna make my positive contact. Oh, let me add a solder blob, just a little bit like that, and let me make a jumper. Just like that. And from here point on, from this point on, it's just about routing about this jumper. Let me move display out of the way. I want to go here, here, and I'm going to connect it to the positive of this LED. Like this, like this, like this. Gonna come to positive. Now I'm going to do it off camera, so, and here is me connecting the negative. This pin, it exits on the other side of radio, so here is the best way, best place to make the connection. A small solder blob, and that's it, and jumper wire. You have to hold it down. Like this is good. So let me come back when I route everything here. I'm kinda in between, I haven't routed anything yet, just test fit. PTT is pressed, I'm gonna turn the radio on. I have an indication, that's what we're doing. You see it? Right there also, right there. It's curing, it's about to get done. But before it gets done, let me show you something. AliExpress. Basically, I found solder mask, the same one that I'm using, similar, for $1.23, and UV light, the one that I have here, you see it right here, for $1.15, free shipping. And if you don't want to use solder mask, just type on Google solder mask alternative. Basically, if you have a wife or mother or girlfriend, she might have a nail polish, the one that gets cured by UV light, you can use that, so you might already have what you need. But there is no reason not to get it, it's cheap with the light, and I'm gonna show you the results just after the thing is done here. So check this out, I'm pressing the flashlight button, bingo, I have an indicator. Let me show you what I've done. I did not show you the process because the process is boring and it's simple basically, but it takes a long time. Basically, I dropped the cables from this side, but here you see, here is the end. First I routed this contact, this was positive, and then this one, and I fixed everything using a solder mask. So this is the positive, yeah, this is the positive, it goes away from the antenna and it connects right here, and this basically has contact to here. And the negative also I fixed. First I fixed the positive, then the negative, but the negative is over here and it just rots away from everything. The wire obviously is coated, so you're not gonna short anything if it even crosses each other or lays on top of some component. And here I mask the contacts for the LED, just in case. And from the other side, I mask the ground, this ground plane, right? Also just in case, and I just mask the LED contacts and the hole over here. But this is optional, guys. You don't have to do it. It's just something that I did to have an indicator for when I'm flashing the firmware, or to know if my flashlight is on. And another thing here, as you might have noticed, is right here under the microscope. You see what I've done here. Basically, if you see the connector, I'll show it to you. You are going to understand why I did this. So that this metal part is ground, right? Does not contact anything when we put the station back together. So basically anything in the vicinity, I just put solder mask on and cured it with UV light. And by the way, you might have already the UV mask in your home if your wife, girlfriend or mother uses nail polish that is UV cured. So you might have a UV light and UV mask, something similar to use for this kind of stuff. And no, you don't have to use UV mask. You can use just regular electrical tape to mask the contacts in the vicinity of the connector off. Even if you're gonna, that's if you're gonna install the connector. If you just have the wire soldered, ground and the positive, you don't have to do this, obviously. But let me show you something else. This is the jumper wire, and this multimeter is in beep beep mode. So the jumper wire is coated. It only gets contact when I solder it. When I solder it, the coating burns. I can smell it and it has contact, but otherwise it's a coated wire. And for all of you, my single antenna guys, the ones that gonna install this inductor in here, there is a new development. Basically this inductor, even in the first version, it on high frequency it is parasitic, it has high capacitance, and in some applications it even burns, but it definitely is getting hot. So someone actually suggested this is going to be ideal because this is a high frequency inductor. Here is the number, here is the size, here is the value. I'm going to include the link. Basically I seen this thing on AliExpress, but you can also get in DigiKey, eBay, Farnell, Mauser. Here on Cheap Deep, as you can see, it costs 36 cents. So something keep in mind. How long did it take to run all those wires? Basically in total it's about 5 to 8 minutes, but between I run them I actually applied the solder mask and use UV light, and since this thing is low power, it takes a long time before things cure. So in total it was about 5 hours, guys. But whatever, that step was optional. Right now we are going to make hole, and since I'm going to be using tooling here, I don't want to damage the glass, because if I damage the glass there is no way to buy it. They sell the display now, but the glass you're not gonna buy it. This is optional. You can actually mask with tape from inside, but I'm going to do it. Basically, I'm not gonna comment. You know what's up. Just just use a hair dryer, guys. Obviously, we're not gonna have a heat gun, but the hair dryer is gonna do. And if you don't have a hair dryer, just put this thing on the sun for half a day, let it get hot. I went too high. I meant 120, maybe 130. And this thing is metal. You can actually paint it any color you want. I seen guys do it. But this is the glass. I'm after the glass actually. So I'm gonna heat it up a little bit. This is a hair dryer, guys. I think this should be good. Yeah. And I'm gonna set it aside. Over there should be good. So now I can walk around here and not worry about this part. This is optional, guys. So let's measure the hole in here. And the hole is 4.85. Yep. And our connector is 6.11, 6.12.13. So I have here 5mm and 5.9mm drill bits. Not because I'm smart or something, they just had this, so that's why I'll get this. I guess other sizes are going to work as well. The idea is make a smaller hole and then make a larger hole. So that's why there is 2 drill bits. 3 drill bits is probably going to be better. But here we have toilet paper, Papia brand. Smells real nice. We got lubricant, this is machine oil, motor oil is gonna do. And we have a drill here. So let me fix our drill bit. If I don't have to use power, I'm not going to use power. I'm gonna do it manually. So like this, and I'm gonna rotate it on top of it. And let me take some lubricant, lubricate things. I don't want to make a mess, guys, just want it to be smooth. Okay, so you follow me. Oh, it went through. Nice. So I should have bought like 5.3mm, I guess, maybe 5.2, but 5 just went through. So let's try this with 5.9. This one is kind of tight. No, it went through, guys. So I have a hole. I'm gonna loop it more, and I'm going to spin to make a hole beautiful. I mean smooth, whatever. I'm gonna show you in a moment, but it turns out really good. I think we're good, guys. I think we're good, and we did not make a big mess. Let me just grab one of those cotton tips and clean it on the inside. I want to stick a connector in there, but I don't want the connector to get dirty with oil. So I have a degreaser here from hardware store. Any degreaser is going to do. Let me degrease the inside of the hole. That should do it. I have the connector here, and the hole is a little bit smaller than connector because the hole is 5.9 millimeter and the connector, how much was it? I forgot. Have to watch the video. But that's what I wanted basically, because I'm going to screw this connector in. Let me grab a wrench. 8 millimeter socket, guys. So I'm not doing this off camera so that you actually see that this is not hard. Just make it straight, because I want to motivate you to do the second antenna mode like this. I guess I could file this down, but I really want to screw it in. I just want to go straight. I think this is going to be good. So let me screw it in. And let me screw it out. And in again. You know what, guys, I'm going to file it after all. What if it cracks, right? Let me get my files. I mean, when I screw it in, what if the plastic body cracks? I really haven't thought about that. But yeah, if you get a 6 millimeter instead of 5.9, it should be just fine without all this. It appears to be going really smooth right now. And that is, guys, how you make a hole for the SMA connector. So let's test fit the board. Let's just fix this in place. Looks pretty, huh? And let's put the board in. I don't know if you can see, but this thing is not touching the board. But if you can see the display, basically it shows right here, because this thing is pushing on the display cable, FPC cable. The display is canted, going down over here. So what we have to do, what I'm saying is that that metal thing is pushes on this FPC cable, and because of that display is not straight. So what we have to do is, let me show you under microscope. Basically I'm going to take a scalpel and I'm going to mark it and cut it right here and right here, and make this metal part flush with the plastic over here. There is an easier way of doing it. Basically you take a solder iron and you put your solder iron here, it heats up and you're gonna bury it in the plastic. But I'm not gonna do it this way because you can screw it up this way. This way is also easy, but it's gonna take maybe 10-15 minutes. I'm going to do this off camera. I'm gonna show the results. Change of plans, guys. The first way was too dangerous, second way was too boring and lengthy, so the third way, this is the third way, guys. I mean, I'm not using my expensive solder iron because it is expensive, and I'm really being careful around here. At least I'm trying to be careful around there. Yeah, all I'm doing is just taking layers off so I can later use a scalpel to make my life, this is gonna make my life a lot easier. So let's use scalpel. See what I'm dealing with here. If I had a rotary tool, it'd be a lot easier, but I don't have a rotary tool, so it is what it is. Let me continue off camera. Well, this third way worked out really well. It went really quick and smooth. Check this out. we even have a gap. You see it? Maybe more light. There is a gap. And from this side, the display is flush. It's not, there is no gap at the bottom anymore. So nothing is pushing the FPC cable. So this is good, guys. There is like absolutely no way around this. I mean, if you had a dremel, if I had a dremel, right, this be like, I guess, 5-minute job. But here I tried solder iron, and I'm back to scalpel because basically it has to be done. We have to make the connector flush. Up to this point, guys, all the soldering and stuff, that's easy stuff. But this, because I don't have a proper tool, is annoyingly hard. Thing is, scalpel is straight and this thing is at an angle, so you can't really you know, make cuts. And I'm trying to fit this right here and flush legs. We are going to cut them off. I don't care about legs. Preferably I want this washer, this sink with this washer. It's flush the way it is, and this somewhat straight. It also has to be straight here. You see, straight and straight here. I mean, it doesn't have to be straight, but so that the antenna goes straight, it has to be straight. And as you might have noticed, I have a different connector. That is because this connector, this one, the one that we need, just arrived today. Prior to this, I was test fitting everything using this connector, and I made this connector flush, basically because it's easy to make it flush. We have same thickness, but I cannot use this connector, first of all because it is a SMA male. You see it? And I need SMA female. This is SMA male, and it has this thingy, this thingy, and this thingy. We can make this thingy flash, but this thingy and this thingy, no way. But that's the only thing I had at my local electronic supply store, so it had to do for now. With this connector we're gonna cut, I think, maybe like 3 legs off and leave one for soldering the ground, and the center pin we're gonna bend probably, but I'm not sure. That's later when I get to it. But for now I'm grinding quite literally this thing down, and by far this step right here, it's the hardest step. The rest is easy. I mean, the connector on the PCB, the IPEX connector, that's easy, man. Installing the mod, that's easy. But this thing, because I don't have a proper tool, is freaking hard, guys. So let me come back when I'm done here. I'm still at it. I guess I could use solder iron to heat up the connector and just sink it into the plastic. But you know what? That's dangerous. I'd rather spend time on this and than screw up the body of my radio, because if I screw up the body of my radio, I could probably throw it out. You cannot buy a brand new body. At this point I feed the connector flush. I'm trying to feed the washer, because right now the way it is, I can use the connector without washer, but I would like to use a washer so that it is stronger. But guys, if you use a proper tool like a dremel, you're probably gonna do much better job plans than me, because this right here is ridiculous. See, I'm digging in and I'm not making progress. Where is my washer? Why do I want a washer? To reinforce it. So I need it more, or I can put like this maybe. Maybe I could. You know what? That is exactly what I'm gonna do. Let me go off camera. So check this out. I think I did. I got the washer in. I had to move it, and this thing is pretty straight. Let's go to face camera, and this is what I'm trying to achieve. Well, first of all, it has to be flush from the other side. That's one thing that's important, but this is no less important. The antenna has to be straight this way and straight this way. At least visually straight, more or less, because you don't want an antenna like that, connector like that, so that antenna is crooked. And I think we achieved it here. I like it. So at this point, those legs that you see on connector, I haven't decided how I'm gonna do it yet. Either cut off all 3 legs or keep one bent, but I'm going to do it off camera and show you what works best, what worked best for me. That makes it easy. These are non-bendable legs, guys. Non-bendable. So we're just gonna solder the ground wire directly to the ground of connector. That makes it easy. How about like this, huh? Test fit. I think this is good. Careful. I mean, we can do a little bit more. It's good the way it is now. It's not gonna touch the what do you call it, LCD cable. Just tiny little bit more. Like this, I think is gonna be good. Well, on the screen there, I'm peering through here. Basically what I'm seeing, that this length, it's a little bit less than the board, and the way this thing comes up is I mean, it's not touching the board. The way this thing comes through is it goes and into this space right here, right? So we cut it is about here, and once I solder the pigtail, I think it's gonna be good. So I'm happy with this finally, and I cannot solder on the inside plastic because plastic is going to melt, so it's time to take it off. My screen is turning off. It's 8mm socket. So I got washer on top. It even got stuck in the plastic. I did not cut plastic from the top because my connector has proper length, and my connector is without legs, and I cut it off like this. I mean, the length is going to be dependent on how deep you're gonna get it into plastic, but mine is 0.98mm, 1mm basically. That's enough to solder and everything else. So let me get back, let me prepare to solder, and I'll be back. So at this point we are practically done. We have like 3 steps left. Cut the pigtail to proper length, this is important, and then solder the pigtail to connector and insert that connector into the plastic body, tighten it up, and then we just reassemble the radio, plus install firmware. And you want to stick around when I show you how to install firmware, because I'm not using stock SEC. I'm going to show you how to install SEC, but check this out. I have SI support, basically that's to listen to the mod that we installed. Plus I have Supectrum band, see it? And also I have spectrum analyzer. Yeah, click it. Spectrum analyzer. So that's different. Spectrum band and spectrum analyzers, that's different. Plus I have free catch and preset, that's antenna length. This is kind of useful as well. Basically, based on frequency, it gonna tell you how long your antenna should be, so you can adjust one of these. So you really wanna see that. I'm telling you so that you stick around. But at this point we are going to measure the proper length of the cable and cut it. Proper length is important, guys, because we don't want it too long. If it's too long, it's going to interfere with assembly, and if it's too short, you're not gonna make it basically. So I guess I'm going to show you on the microscope, but without closing this window. I wanted, I think, something around like this, because here is the connector, right? And I have to solder it, I have to cut it, I have to and if it's a bit longer, guys, I'm going to basically, you see I'm making a loop like this. I put my finger and I'm gonna cut it right here, So that's where I'm going to cut it. I think that's good. I'm gonna see in a moment how it worked out. So I made my cut. This side of pigtail I'm not using. I'm just interested in the other side with IPEX connector. So next step is soldering. But before soldering it, we have to clean the isolation off, right? For this task, I got a brand new blade on my scalpel. This is what I found that works best. Basically not like this, like you used to, right? But like this. And I should be able to use my fingers at this point. Maybe not the fingers, maybe tweezers. Why am I showing you how to clean the cable? I mean to get the isolation off. Guys, once you do it yourself, you're going to find out. And let's leave it at that. I got myself. So good. Did I do it off camera? I'm sorry, I did not see. Yeah, at this point just fingers. I think this is good. So where is my connector? I would like it but like this. Obviously when I'm going to solder it, it's going to melt, so maybe like this. As you understand, this son of a bitch is really fragile. It's not one of those wires when you can take the isolation off using your teeth, basically. I think I did it. Did I do it? What do you see? Yeah, I did it, definitely. So what now, huh? Now I'm going to turn my iron on. What was that? I think that was from the ground. Iron on, apply flux, and I'm going to thin the wires. Like this is gonna be good. Next I'm going to thin this center pin. Like that is excellent. I wonder if I could thin with this small solder iron on the ground. Think we're going to do it right here. I think that's going to be smart. There is a possibility it won't thin because it's absorbing the heat. I can feel connector getting hot. Yeah, we thinned it. So how about the ground? Well, the ground, I don't think I'm gonna thin it just yet, because I want it to be that don't have all those what do you call them, strands like this one. I don't want this. I think now I'm going to thin the ground as well. And how we gonna do this, guys? I think we're going to do it like this. Careful. Yeah, like that, right? And this thing wants to fall off at this time because, oh, I did not solder it. Nice. So we need a bigger solder iron basically to thin the connector. So I am back with a bigger iron. I still want the solder blob over here. I think this time around it's actually soldered. So let's solder the ground. Yeah, I think this is solid. Let me switch back to smaller iron. Now you'd think just solder the damn wire, right? Well, there is a lot of steps that go into it. Yeah, and you know those guys that say, hey, just mod is like 5-10 minutes. Yeah, guys, 5-10 minutes, my ass. It's not hard, but not 5-10 minutes, definitely. So let's solder the center. I like what I did right now. Let me cut off the excess. And let me beep it just in case. That's good. So the next step, guys, I mean, you can use electrical tape. Just put some tape right on here, right, to isolate it. But you should purchase for $1, or what was it, $1.60 or what, solder mask, or borrow from your wife nail polish, the one that is UV cured, the new style nail polish. And you should purchase UV light for 99 cents, the crappy one, the one that I have. And you should do what I do. If you put too much on it, it's not going to cure, basically, especially with the shitty light. I don't care much about the ground, but I care about this center pin, basically. But I will also isolate the grounds. I mean, the ground is not going to touch anything, but whatever, man. Since we are here, why not do it, right? Maybe your wife has a nail polish and a UV light. That way you set, and maybe even a hair dryer for the taking off of what do you call it, the glass, protective glass. Because I said earlier that it is optional to take it off, but at this point, I mean, through everything that I went through with this, I highly recommend it. Basically, it's because I don't have the proper tool. If you come there with a dremel, I guess you're gonna be fine. So at this point, guys, I'm going to jerry rig my UV light so it shines straight on this, and with this much stuff it's probably gonna take more than 30 minutes, maybe like 40 minutes. Oh, I know, I'm just gonna do it from the side. Check this out. How about I do it like this, right? You see it, maybe from the side, straight on it. That should do it. So the thing is ready to go into its new home. Basically I already test fit everything, and let me show you the trick here. Yeah, I'm installing the ring. We got the washer. But basically we have volume knob, antenna volume knob, this display side, and we want to go from the volume knob side. You see it? Let me zoom in. So the cable, I want the cable in here to be here. So that's how I'm going to do the cable, like that. So let me tighten it and come back and show you. Okay, I tighten it. Let's see it. Basically we want that our cable is going to be like this. In the display here, it's on the side of the display, and then going into the connector. So that's why you tighten it like this. Let's assemble this thing. I'm ready to assemble it. Basically the glass I'm going to install after, but this thing is optional, so you might not have even taken the glass off because you're playing Rambo. I want to solder the speaker. Now if you did not have this connector, if you did without the connector, at this point you would have to solder the cable for the antenna, or you can first solder the cable and then mess with tightening up the connector. So anyway, I have the speaker. Where is my keyboard? My keyboard is right here. It's installed and everything nice. Where is my plastic thingy? My plastic thingy goes over here. And now, are we recording? Yes. Now I just connect the cable into the IPEX connector. and that's why you want to install the IPEX connector, because it is installation and disassembly is easy. And guys, I forgot to install my rings, the one that goes around the volume knob and antenna, so I'm going to do it right now. By the way, have you noticed difference between this video and anything else out there? The difference is that I'm doing kinda everything more or less live, so that you know what to expect. More or less, not always. Well, beside the obvious difference that my videos are long. So anyway, that thing is tight. Now it's about take away this antenna connector around the display here. I know you can see, but basically antenna connector goes around here, so just like that, and the thing inserts into its new home. We don't have anything there. Let me test buttons before I proceed. Menu button works, up, down works, exit works. One, yeah, one works. Like that, two, that works. 4, 6, 0. About 7, 8, 9. What about the function? Yes, everything works. So guys, at this point I'm going to reinstall the glass, which is right here. Come here. Obviously I'm going to make it clean. More or less clean. And just put in place. And where is my metal thingy? The glass is not straight. Like that. And my screwdriver. Screws are not magnetic. And this is what we have. We put a BNC on here, screw it down tight. Where is my knob? My knob is over here. Here's our stock antenna. Like that, and here is our BNC antenna. BNC antenna goes in. Let us explore a situation where we want to disassemble this. So let's disassemble it on camera. Obviously the antenna, the button, obviously the BNC. You might not have this, but who cares? And obviously the battery, and the rest is simple like this. Check this out. You see it? And then I just take off the plug, and the rest is the same as with the stock radio. Just unsolder this and you have a disassembled radio. So that's how you simply disassemble this radio with a second antenna. This is the final positioning here. You see it. I want the cable a little bit away from the bottom, and here it is glued. And I want it away from the bottom because if it is on the bottom, it is going to interfere. I mean, it's going to push the LCD cable, and you see LCD cable gets pinched. LCD cable is going to sit right there, and this one is a little bit higher. So let's do a final assembly. Basically, I would like to, in order to assemble it, maybe we should use side camera. Let's use side camera. So I would like to solder the speaker, standard procedure, and then, I haven't soldered the speaker yet. There you go. Then this plastic piece goes into his place, and I'm going to insert the antenna connector into the IPEX connector. And I have two IPEX connectors, but that's just for testing. And I'm doing testing right now. This is why I'm inserting into second IPEX connector before the amplifier. And for amplifier, I upgraded with PFU 550AR low noise amplifier, but that's just jazz. You're not gonna have this unless you want to. And there you go. Just stick it in and assemble it the way that you usually assemble this radio. There you go. You see, let's switch to main camera. Everything is nice here. And the obvious things, obviously the obvious things, like this BNC connectors. And the antenna. Like that. Well, if you made it this far down my video, you're definitely a legend. Check out how this radio looks with stock antenna, and I just put a cap on top of the SMA connector, I could take off this cap and put another cap. So this is a metal cap and this is a plastic cap, like that. And this is how the radio looks with a stock antenna and a BNC connector. With two BNCs, BNC and antenna on top of BNC, with two antennas. Now this is just to show off, because you are not going to use this thing in this configuration. You are either gonna have one of this one or this one, but not both at the same time.
25 тысяч противоправных материалов, в том числе распространяющих идеологию экстремизма и терроризма. 7,5 тысяч из них.
That was just to show that SI is working. But SI is working and you have a spectrum analyzer. That is not SEC, CEC. And that's not a stock firmware for this mode. I'm using a Fox's Reborn firmware. I know I promised to install the SEC and the Reborn at the end of the video, but guys, the video is over 2 hours long. At this time you are burned out, so if I'm gonna show it to you now, I mean, you're already bored. If you made it this far, you're a legend, guys. I'm going to make another video after this one where I'm going to show you how to install a firmware, so that you have we're gonna install stock SEC, the easy one, and we're going to install this one so that you have SI support and also this all the good spectrum band and stuff like that. For example, let me go quickly through the menu. We have here single VO4 like this, and we have here VF4 Pro like this if you're Pro, and we have here two VF4s. Obviously we have SI support and spectrum band. This is a spectrum band. It catches all the traffic on the spectrum, and we have spectrum analyzer like this, and we have freq catch, so that if someone is transmitting another radio, you can use freq catch to catch frequency. Antenna length. With this thing you can calculate the length of your antenna. Plus it supports SI, I already told you that. But that I'm going to show you in the different video, because this video is too long and we have to finish, guys. I'm not quite ready to let you go because I like you. Basically, this is the LED that we did, right? LED. So this flashlight, it used to be over here, we relocated it. So now when we flash firmware, I'm pushing PTT and turn it on, this thing is going to light green and it's going to give indication. Plus, if you turn on flashlight by mistake, there you go, you're gonna know it. You see it? And what else? I think that's it. Oh no, one more thing, guys. Check this out. It's this video right here. What you're looking at is two IPEX connectors, two. Alright, I did one before amplifier. Before amplifier is when it just enters amplifier. I'm showing right now after the amplifier, and after the amplifier. Basically for testing, this I'm showing before amplifier. Plus I upgraded this amplifier with a BFU 550 transistor. That's a low noise transistors. Basically, after the amplifier, we connect the antenna after the amplifier. I cut 21 FM stations. But if I connect before amplifier, I got only 9 FM stations, and I did take off BFU 550 AR and put stack transistor in. Results were the same. So you definitely connect your second antenna after the amplifier, and you might as well remove that amplifier because you don't need it. And at this point we are done, and I'm ready to say goodbye and let you go. So if I earned your like, if you like this video, hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and share this video with someone else, and I'm going to see you in the next one. I started recording this video May 26 evening. That was Sunday. Today is May 29th, Wednesday. It's 15 hours 15 minutes Moscow time. My radio is in this state. You see the LED relocated here. You see 2 antennas happening. But basically I was waiting for this package to arrive to complete my setup. I have antennas here and connectors, everything basically. I did not buy just what I need, I bought more. So let's check this out, what I have here. I have in different packages. That's a big package, man. So let's unbox everything. I mean, some of the stuff is going to be optional, obviously. So this is a adapter SMA male to SMA male. You don't need it, but it's good to have it. And this, what is this? This is a cap to close up this thing. Let me show it to you. This I would get because you see, you have it like this without the antenna, right? You got SMA here, and this you just screw on top and it will close it nicely. That's the idea behind it. So next, but that one is optional as well. Oh, we got our pigtails. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pigtails. 5 pigtails. Nice. I mean, I had a used pigtail when I was shooting the video up to this point, but this is new. I'm gonna use one of these. Yeah, this you need for the setup. They're like really cheap. This is the connector that we are going to use. You see legs, we're gonna cut off legs. That's for later. That connector you need, it's like the primary thing. Up to this point I used a different connector, but similar, for shooting the video. And this is, what is this? This is an adapter, guys. This is optional but highly recommended. Basically with this adapter you can connect this second antenna to your TV antenna. Something useful. This is another connector, just a different size. I ordered several sizes because I do not know at this point which size is going to fit perfectly, but we're going to find out. I mean, I intend to insert this video at the end so you already know which size is needed. And this thing is really cool. This has nothing to do with this mode. This is a filter that blocks out the FM broadcast radio. It improves your reception on this mode as well. This feels like empty inside. But it's not empty. This is the IPEX connectors. Up to this point I used used up IPEX connector. It's actually installed there, but I'm gonna swap it up off camera real quick so that you never know that I did it. And this looks like an antenna. Obviously you do not need an antenna for this mode. What you gonna do, right? What you gonna do without antenna? Yeah, this is antenna for this mode. Check this out. I need the BNC. Huh? Damn! Oh man, this is huge. I think it was like $6 or $7. Yeah, I guess you need an antenna, but that is optional because you can build your own antenna, or you can use your existing, maybe television antenna, maybe a piece of wire, I don't know. Other connectors, basically different sizes, because I did not know which size I need. But these connectors are cheap, like 50 cents or 90 cents or something like that. And here we have another antenna. It's not for this mode, it is for the radio. Chinese diamond RH771S. Let's take it out. It feels Chinese immediately because this piece is not glued in place, but I will glue it, no problem. Basically this antenna is not for the mode. This antenna is BNC. It goes on a radio. Nice. I like this. And the final package, another antenna that's also not for the mode. It's a collapsible antenna for the 145, 433. This Chinese RH770 BNC. So you can adjust the antenna for the frequency that you use, and in the firmware there is a frequency antenna length calculator in reborn firmware. So that's how you use that application. Maybe I have to tighten it more. I don't know, I'm gonna figure it out off camera. So to links to relevant things buttons that you need, I'm going to include in the description. Yeah, so I recorded this segment of the video on the previous one and my mic wasn't working. But basically what I was saying is this. Guess you're wondering what the hell am I doing here. Let me show, I showed it to you, but I'm speaking again, so let me show it to you again. I'm installing a second IPEX connector. This IPEX connector is going to go before the amplifier, so I'm gonna have two IPEX connectors, one without the amplifier and one before the amplifier. And for the amplifier I have a low noise BFU 550 AR transistor. Here I got the trace, this trace coming from the antenna, right, the stack antenna. So I got this trace so that I could solder it here, and here I'm going to lay a jumper. So this way I could actually test properly. Oh, I put some shit in here. Let me get rid of it and keep tagging. But basically I'm going to test properly, set up this IPEX connector, or just antenna connector, second antenna connector, without amplifier, after amplifier, right, and before amplifier. And this video I am not going to include in the main video, but basically those of you, the most patient ones that watch the video until the end, this video is going to be right at the end of the main video. I mean, after the main video ends, right, there's going to be a black screen, and then the video starts with bonuses and stuff. I mean, those who are patient are going to see this video. But basically, let me show you the process. Let me finish soldering this transistor. Yeah, man, I first recorded this, and then I realized my mic is not recording. I don't know what happened there. I want to beep it, just in case. This is ground. Yeah, and this is antenna. And this is right here. Everything is good. So my connector, I want it right here. I want the positive soldered to this spot right here. So I want to I want my ground. Let me use a scalpel to scrape it. I want it right here. From this side I want right here, and from this side I want right here. Yeah, like that. So let me scrape this thing off and tin it. This should be good. I think this should be good. So blow it off and wash it off. And dry it off. Now the question is why? Why not, guys? I ran it without amplifier and then put amplifier back on. This one, right? There was no obvious difference, so who cares? Let there be amplifier. Yeah, like this is good. So let's thin it. Let's turn the solder iron on and then thin it. Oh, there is not enough heat. Temperature was 390, so it's 480 right now. I'd be better at this point switching off to a larger blade, but I don't want to do it. So that I don't waste my own time. I think this is good. Yeah, this is good. Come on, connector, I want you to turn over. Yeah, I thought so. It's from this side. So, let me solder them. Son of a bitch. That's a cold solder right there. 480. This ground is heavy. Yeah, this is good. Excellent. And finally the positive. And this way, guys, I can test in both positions, basically. Not only test, but I can run it in both positions, whatever I deem to be better. That's the one that I'm going to use. Yeah, and now I need a jumper right here, and I'm gonna cut the jumper off right from here. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Oh, it seems kind of long. I gonna need a new tweezer, and I have it right here. New tweezer, like that. Maybe I should add solder to that part and then solder it. Here we go. It is. Let me check continuity, but it looks good. Yes, it's good. So this is how I have two connectors for testing. And now basically I'm going to glue all the stuff around here so that connector also doesn't touch anything on this side. Plus I'm going to glue this transistor again. And this is how it looks after it has been glued down. I mean, after I applied the solder mask. So this one is before the amplifier, going directly to the capacitor, and this one hits this amplifier. The connection to antenna, single antenna, the antenna from the radio, this one, right, it's cut off right here, so this is not in play. Just hits this amplifier, gets amplified, and it goes to the mode. So that's for testing basically. If you need this, I mean, if this is better, obviously I'm going to tell you to do it this way, but if it makes no difference this way,